Alrighty, so the video for today, this is going to be a video of me rowing a 5K on my Concept 2 rower. The reason that I'm making this video, or the reason I recorded the row, is because for the month of April, I decided that 4 days a week, for the entire month, they're going to be rowing 10K a day. I call it 10K a day till May. I did this last year, and I saw a tremendous improvement on my rowing. So I decided I would try it again this year while I'm dieting. Last year, I did the same thing, but I wasn't really dieting, so my weight actually stayed about the same. And not only was I not dieting, but I was so hungry from rowing 10,000 meters a day, 4 days a week, for 4 weeks, that I was probably overeating, as a matter of fact. And that's most likely the reason that my weight stayed the same. When you're putting out that much work, and you can eat a lot of food. So this year, what I'm going to do is I'm actually dieting down while I'm doing this. And we're going to see how much weight I lose during this month while I'm rowing 10,000 meters a day. And not only am I going to measure how much weight I'm losing, but I also want to measure my performance change. Because I suspect that while doing that much rowing, my time is going to increase tremendously. When I did this last year, I can't remember what my benchmark time was at the beginning of the month, but it was probably just a hair under 20 minutes. So that's what my goal was today. I'm going to explain everything on the little computer readout up there here in just a moment. But last year, I remember I sat down on the rower and I didn't really have a lot of experience. I would start rowing, and I rowed a 10K or a 5K for the first time ever. I posted my time in one of my groups, and people were blown away. They didn't understand how someone of my size and my height and weight was able to get that much into the rower, or at least be able to pull that kind of time, how my lungs were able to withstand that kind of pressure. And throughout the month, not only did I get better at rowing, but I learned how to row. I learned more about using the rower more efficiently, and my time dropped. I think I was like, let's say I was at 1955 for a 5K at the beginning of the April last year. I was able to get that down to about 1845 at the end of the month, which is a pretty incredible change. Mostly that was due to my technique change, and I'm going to go over that here in a moment. So let's look up at the monitor for the Concept 2 rower, and I'm going to explain what each of those boxes means and how you can use that to increase your time if you're doing like a long distance row, because that's kind of what I'm into right now. I'm not going to go over why I like the rower. It's an excellent piece of equipment. Let's just put it that way. So if you look at the top right of the screen here, I have I had a camera that I specifically put on the computer monitor, and the number at the very top left, when I first started rowing, that was set at 5,000 meters, because on the Concept 2, you can set your workout to a single distance if you want to. And for this one, I set it at 5K. As soon as you start rowing, that number starts to go down. That's kind of obvious. It should be obvious to most people. So while I've been yammering on here, I should be approaching the 4-minute mark on my training, and I have almost gone 1,000 meters, because it's about 4,000 meters right now. The next number I want you to look at is the number just to the right of that. That's the one right now. It says 20, 21, 22. That has a little S over an M. That's the strokes per minute. That is a very important number when you're rowing. And I would encourage anyone who is rowing to try to keep that number between 20 and 25 while you're going. Because when you first start rowing, you have a temptation to, first of all, I see a lot of people that don't use full strokes. Like, they don't go all the way forward, bend their knees, get as much out of that chain as possible, and then come all the way back and squeeze at the end. When you bring that back, you push out with your legs and do like a jump, thrust, squat almost. So you're throwing yourself back, and then when your legs are fully extended, you just bring that chain back and get as much out of that chain as possible. I like to pause there for like a second, half second, 3/4 second. I don't know what it is, but I bring that back. I pause for a second, and then I reach forward. I bring it up again. I row almost, well, there's two numbers I look at the entire time when I'm rowing. That strokes per minute is one of the most important. And if my strokes per minute gets too high or too low, I'll adjust accordingly. So when I first started rowing, I would row really fast. I'd have that at like 30, 32 strokes per minute. And it's really incredible. I mean, you can get the way the rower works is there's a fan. You pull on that chain and it turns this fan, and it's got blades this way, so it gives you some resistance. And the higher your stroke rate, the faster you're going to get that fan to keep spinning with very little effort. The problem is you're not getting the full power out of your entire body. You want to be able to get most of your power out of your legs down here, and you're just not doing that if you're just going really fast and you're just spinning that fan. So that's why I bring it back, I pause for a hot second, I come forward and I push off with my legs, explode out of it, all the power in the world, and then I start over. I'm not going to get into wattage because I'm not an expert on that, but you want to get as much power out of your legs as possible and then finish off with your arms and back. And it's impossible to do that if you're going too fast. It's very difficult to do if you're going too slow as well. I think that 20 to 25 is just about right for most people. The next number I want people to look at, and this is something that's going to vary incredibly depending on your skill level and the amount of conditioning that you have. That's the number right below. Right now it's about 156, it'll say 155, 157 per 500 meters. That is telling you, if you were to row 500 meters at that pace, how long is it going to take you? So if you're rowing a 155, it's going to take you 1 minute 55 seconds to complete a 500 meter row. For me personally, like I've been rowing for a while, so I have some ideas in my head of the pace I want to keep. If I'm rowing casually, where I just want to keep my heart rate at like level 4, zone 4, like before max, your max heart rate is at range, I call it zone 5. Zone 4 is where I like to row when I'm just kind of going for cardio. If I'm trying to get at that point, I'll row at 2:05. So 2 minutes and 5 seconds per 500 is a relatively stringent but not too difficult pace for me. Anything below 2 minutes is something I consider a pretty fast pace. So I was rowing this to be a benchmark to see where I am. I wanted to get the best time I could. So I was focused on keeping that number at about 157. That was my target. Anytime I went above that, I tried to row harder. Anytime I went below that, I would kind of let off for a minute. And there's two ways that you can increase that. You can either do more strokes per minute at the same power output, or you can keep the same strokes per minute and you can just pull harder. That's the technique that I really, really focus on doing. Right now, it just jumped up to 2 minutes. So the next couple pulls, I was really pushing with my legs and pulling with my arms, get that pace back down. When you get into it, you find that it's still pretty daunting, you know, so it is what it is. Then down at the bottom, I don't know if I talked about this one yet or not, but the number at the very bottom, that's your projected finish time. So if you have an idea in your head of how quickly you want to row, you'll set your pace and you'll try to keep that pace, and then you keep looking down at the bottom, it'll tell you what your projected finish is. At my current pace, my projected finish is about, well, it's hovering between 1933 and 1945 or something like that. That's because it's constantly calculating, if you row 5,000 meters at that pace, how long would it take you? That gap will start to close towards the end. And let's see, where's my, and the current time is that right now it's about 8:50, 8:54, 8:55, 8:56. That's how long I've been rowing. So I don't know, those are the numbers. If you look at the number at the top, that's the number that's counting down. So it'll give you an idea of how much longer I have in the saddle before I'm finished. I don't know. Does that explain everything? Does that help everybody understand how the rower works and kind of what you need to do on the rower to have good numbers? I'm probably not the best person in the world at describing this, but I just wanted to spend a little time. This particular row, it took me, I think I finished my 5K in the 1929, 1930 range. I can't remember. We'll find out here in a little bit. But it was a pretty good clip for me. When I did this the first time last year, I think I finished, I think I mentioned this already, I finished about a 1955. And then at the end of the month, I was able to get myself down to 1845. My goal for this month is to beat that 1845. I want to get down into 1830s for a 5K. If I'm able to do that, that will be pretty impressive. It'll be interesting to see if I'm able to accomplish that, because like I mentioned before, I'm also dieting down. So I'm eating less calories now than I was last year when I did this. And we'll see if my performance suffers. I think I'm still eating plenty of calories, so I don't think my performance is really going to suffer, but that's one of the things that we're going to find out. I don't know. I think that's about all I have to say about this row. I will tell you there's a little, it's not really a happy surprise, just a little, I decided to pick up the GoPro at the end of this row and just talk a little bit. So I'm going to get out of the way, let you listen to the beautiful sounds of a concept rower being worked, and then I'll be back at the end and you can see me all sweaty and out of breath and trying not to puke to close out the video. So I'm going to let you go for now. I was shooting for a sub 20-minute 5K time. I ended up getting 19:29. It's not my personal best, but it's a place to start. I was monitoring my heart rate during the row, and I got it right about a maximum of 170 beats. I held it above 160 beats for a really long period of time. I'm gonna end it now. I don't know. If I do 10K a day for the entire month of April, 10K a day until May, we'll see how much my time improves. When I did this last year, I got my time down into the 1845, 1847. I think is where I got my 10K last year, or my 5K last year. Something else I would like to do is try to get my 10K down below 40 minutes, or let's say below 40 minutes and 30 seconds, because I don't know if I can pace myself for 10K that well. Put this up here. I'm not used to talking to the GoPro. Whew. So pretty well smoked after that. That was my 6th workout this week. Generally speaking, I only work out 4 times a week, but this week I felt like being generous with myself. I think that's about all I gotta say about that. So I don't know if this is gonna be the beginning of the video or the end of the video. If this is the beginning of the video, I'm gonna go ahead and shut up now and let you just watch the rowing. If this is the end of the video, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.